Welcome to the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A. I'm Eric Samulski. He's James Schiano. We are here in MLB Deadline Week to answer all of your fantasy baseball questions. As a reminder, this is the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A because so much of the information we will provide to you, you can find on our Player News page. We're updating it pretty much all the time with rumors, with actual trades, with AAA stats. You know, we're trying to give you insights on guys who are maybe producing in the minor leagues who could get opportunities after the trade deadline. So make sure you go check that out. But yeah, James, this is an exciting time right now.
So question for you, who's the next player that gets traded?
Like the next one?
The next one. What's the next trade?
I think it's going to be something inconsequential as the next one.
Fair.
Let's go with it's like Andrew Heaney keeps popping into my head.
Andrew Heaney is 5 ERA. That's the next move?
Yeah, it's the next move. Just something that's going to be a real bummer. But yeah, I mean, listen, last night, Hector Gomez was like reporting that the Suarez move is getting closer. And so he might be the next big domino to fall. So yeah, that's kind of my thought, I guess. What about you? Who do you think the next move is?
I was gonna say it is a funny deadline when like he's the jewel, you know, because like Suarez, it's like he is. Like,
well, but if you look at his stats right now,
yeah, it's pretty amazing. But it's funny conceptually for the trade deadline. Like we're all waiting for the Eugenio Suarez move, where it's like 3 years ago, Eugenio Suarez gets traded in the middle of November, whenever that was. People are like, oh, that's a weird trade. It's like it's just, especially at this age, it's funny that this all happened. But that is the big move. Do you think that?
I think that's because like a lot of the big names are probably not going anywhere. Like I don't think Joe Ryan is going anywhere. I don't think Johan Duran is going anywhere. I don't think
Clase.
I don't think Clase is going anywhere.
I think from that list, he's the most likely.
From the list I just gave you,
from the one you just said out loud, yeah.
Yes, I think like Ryan Helsley is probably the closer most likely to go, in my opinion. And I guess that's like a big name. I guess Sandy Alcantara would be a big name, even though he's not, producing right now like a big time player. Despite what Yankee fans on Twitter are thinking, like Paul Skeens is not getting traded, and the whole like Spencer Jones for Paul Skeens rumors that are going around on Yankee Twitter are like laughable to me right now.
I don't even think I would trade, like, let's say we were doing like European like soccer. I don't even think I would trade the next 3 months of Paul Skeens for the rest of Spencer Jones' career.
No,
I don't think so at all.
Would not do it. We're gonna dive right in though. We got some questions, and we got some questions that are relevant to what we just talked about. Sid wants to know the top 5 post-deadline closers in waiting. So where are you at on? Let's not try to rank them right off the top. Just give us kind of like a general, like these are my top closers in waiting.
I think the most difficult part about the closer and waiting conundrum is that usually if you're a deadline team, a seller, and you're trading your closer, that means 1, you're not very good. 2, if you're a deadline team, you're trading your closer, you're not very good. You don't have that many great options, your bullpen behind this closer that you're willing to trade. Like I think by far the most interesting one, but a lot of times also these guys can get traded as well. Like I like Jojo Romero a lot objectively as a reliever. I've gotten Jojo Romero in a few places ahead of this week because I think that like you said, Ryan Helsley probably gets moved. Phil Maton probably gets moved as well. I still think Romero is objectively better than him. But then also like Riley O'Brien will take some saves. Like I don't know what the second half of that bullpen looks like.
So I just published an article earlier today on trade deadline stashes. It's over on NBC Sports. Everybody should go check it out. But I mentioned Phil Maton because he's been really good this year, like a 2.35 ERA in 38 1/3 innings. He has the next highest leverage innings since June 1st. I tried to like limit, so it's not like all season bullpen usage, but like kind of recent bullpen usage. Phil Maton has the next highest high leverage innings behind Helsley. Oli Marmol has tended to not utilize a committee. He tends to just put one guy in the bullpen and, let him go. So I would be inclined to add Phil Maton, but to your point, he is a free agent at the end of this year too. So
Yeah.
do the Cardinals, are they like full on selling everything? Are they making a couple moves, but still want to be kind of competitive? Maton is one guy for me. Similar spot would be like Dennis Santana, who we saw. I feel like Bednar is almost a lock to be dealt.
Yeah.
Dennis Santana has looked good when he was closing earlier. He's also a free agent. That would leave like Isaac Matson, who's a 27-year-old that I had never heard about before this year, but I guess he could close.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to your point, like there's not a lot of like, hey, this guy definitely. I think number one for me is actually Lucas Erceg.
Yeah.
Because Carlos Estevez has a $13 million team option, but I don't know that the Royals are picking up a $13 million option on Estevez, especially after extending Lugo, because they're not a small market team in the sense like they don't operate like the Pirates, but they also don't throw money around.
Yeah.
And if you're going to extend Lugo, I just don't see the Royals as the team that pays $13 million for a closer, especially when they've had success with like kind of like cheaper relievers that they can get more out of. And even though they're not full on selling right now, they're not really in a good spot for the postseason. So could you still try to compete, but take advantage of this like white hot reliever market and trade Carlos Estevez and get something back, and then just put Lucas Erceg in the closer's role because you know that he could do it? So I kind of really like stashing Lucas Erceg where I can right now.
I like that stream of logic. That's somewhere totally opposite my mind went. The second I saw that Lugo extension, I was like, oh, they're just going to stick with this core for next season. I think something else that's fun this time of year, definitely something more to do in slightly shallower leagues, is that some people I think will be trying to get off some of these players that they don't believe will be closers after the deadline. Like someone like David Bednar, they think he's going to get traded. Probably going to get traded. Almost anywhere that David Bednar gets traded to, he's going to remain a closer. Like I think that the teams the hottest after him are the Phillies and the Tigers right now. Unless the Mets swoop in or the Padres, David Bednar will be a closer for the second half. He'll be a closer for a significantly better team. So I think that's
right. I
was in the league last night trying to negotiate Bednar. I'm like, he's going to get traded. You don't want to have Bednar anymore and save soul. Like, what do you do? Just get rid of him. Get off him.
And even if like the Dodgers traded for him, he would at least be in a committee, right? He wouldn't
probably be leading the committee because Ben Kasparius just got to stay for them on Friday night. Like they're just doing whatever they want right now.
How dare you? Blake Trinan is back, baby. He is ready to go.
I did my recap update for that. I was like, Ben Kasparius this year has started, pitched in long relief, pitched in bulk relief, pitched in middle relief, now high leverage relief. Now we just got to save opportunities. Like just crack Ben Kasparius in case of emergency.
Yeah. The last one I'll mention is Dylan Lee with the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Raisel Iglesias rumored to be gone. Dylan Lee has pitched in the most high leverage innings beyond him. They'll probably use a committee because he's a lefty. But he's a name to keep in mind if you wanted to.
Yep.
We got a points league question. It's points league corner here with James Schiano. What player would you prefer in head-to-head points rest of season? Brandon Lau, Matt Shaw, or Luis Robert? We should acknowledge the Cubs trade rumors around Eugenio Suarez and what that might do to Matt Shaw's value if the Cubs do indeed pull the trigger. But where are you going there?
That's much to Lance Brzezowski's chagrin. I've heard Lance do a couple segments saying like, let's spend the assets on pitching. Let's not replace Matt Shaw just when he finally starts to turn the corner. But I want to go Lau, but I need some more clarity on his injury situation. Like I know he's also come back in trade rumors, but I hate a guy like Brandon Lau who goes on the injured list twice inside of a month with one injury that's an oblique, which that usually lingers, but seemed like it went away. And then one that is just vague and strange, and they changed the classification of it. They're like, oh, here's ankle, foot tendonitis with plantar fasciitis. Like that seems like something that is probably a pain tolerance thing. It seems like something that, of course, you go back and play. Objectively from this list, I think I like him by far the most, especially because Luis Robert is also dealing with injury. We also don't know what Luis Robert we get. So even with the unclarity of the injury, I'm going Lau, Robert, Shaw, but these are three incredibly unclear players at the moment.
For sure.
It's a very funny list of three guys who I don't know what's going to happen any of them the next week.
Yeah. Also, I just was thinking about the trade deadline. I was obviously watching as a Red Sox fan, was watching that series this weekend. Did you hear the Alex Cora comments about
ESPN?
Yes. when he was working there.
Yeah, like we just started making things up to get people to
Yeah.
click. It's like, you don't say. No way. I can't believe you do that. No
He
shot.
said that people at ESPN legitimately would just make up trades in the green room before shows just to talk about like, oh, this is a rumor that I'm hearing, just so they could like chat about it.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Not a huge surprise, but definitely something that we need to consider.
Yeah.
Definitely something we need to consider. How do you rank Alcantara, Montas Jr., Mize, Bayo, Boz, Senga, Bubic, and Ryan Nelson rest of season? Bubic dead last off the list entirely.
Yeah.
He was already approaching an innings limit. Now he has the shoulder issue. I think if Bubic is on your team, you can just move on from now. Obviously, if you have IL spots and you can put him there, fine. But yeah, he's off it for me. I think Senga is the clear number one for me here. I think he's the highest upside of all these guys. Like, I think like, yeah, Mize has pitched well. Yeah, Bayo has pitched well in spurts. But to me, those aren't like upside guys. They're kind of high floor pitchers. And so you can make an argument that it's Senga 1 and then like Mize and Bayo might be 2 and 3 because they feel relatively safe. Shane Baz has that upside, but he is also like really
all over the place.
And he's also nearing an innings limit or has gone beyond his previous innings limits. And if Tampa Bay falls out of the playoff picture as they are increasingly falling out, like what if they shut him down like at the end of August and just like end his season? So I don't know, man. I think I go Senga, Mize, Bayo, Baz, Alcantara, Montas Jr., maybe Alcantara over Baz, something like that.
He's got to be the guy we get the most questions about weekly.
Oh,
right?
Nelson. I forgot about Nelson.
Yeah, right.
Nelson to me is in the Mize Bayo tier of like high floor, but the ceiling isn't there. So I think you could rank those guys. You could flip those guys, but they're 2, 3, 4 for me. Mize, Bayo, and Nelson.
Funny Baz caveat. The Rays through May and June won 6 consecutive Shane Baz starts. And now in July, they've lost 5 consecutive Shane Baz starts. But it's again, not all his fault, but he hasn't pitched great in some of those games. But I wrote a big article about innings limits during the All-Star break. So check that out. There's like 20 guys listed there. And it was just, I went like deep with basically every single guy that could have an innings limit. Senga on this list is definitely a tier above, I think, everybody else. I don't think anyone on this list is close to Senga in terms of both ceiling and floor. And that's also why Senga has not looked really that good for most of the season. Even the ERA is still quite low, but especially last night, Sunday Night Baseball, he just could not find a way to place his fastball. Too many sat in the heart of the zone. A couple got crushed. Matt Chapman sent one like 420 feet to straightaway center field. But still, he's so far above these rest of these guys. Montas, I have a couple Montas this week. Big 2-start week in San Diego, home against the Giants. I'm just so ready to be hurt after I fully buying it over the last few weeks here, because the only bad start that Montas had this season was that one against the Braves back in like the second week of June. And then it came out afterwards that the Mets believed, and he believed too, that he was tipping his pitches. Besides that, if you take away like a 6-run, 2-inning spurt that he had, it's like a 2.5 ERA and a whip that's right around 1. But I'm very ready to get hurt the second I trust Frankie Montas as usual.
Yeah, I'm kind of in on Montas like in deeper formats. I don't know, like, he's a streamer and a 12-teamer, so you're picking your matchups here. But yeah, I'm intrigued enough. Question from Harry with Ober returning soon, and Ober is going to return this week. He's lined up to start Wednesday against Boston. How do you rank these starting pitchers rest of season? Chase Burns, Bailey Ober, Ryan Nelson, Yuri Perez.
Ryan Nelson again. Every single rank these pitchers is Ryan Nelson. That's so funny.
This is another one with the Senga one where like Yuri Perez
so far
number one for me, way far ahead of any of these other guys.
Not even close.
And then I think you can argue around it. I am going to take the optimistic view. I'm putting Bailey Ober 2, Ryan Nelson 3, Chase Burns 4. I think we have a pretty clear indication that Bailey Ober was pitching through a hip injury when he was getting lit up for like those 4 starts before going on the IL. He talked about it openly. The team talked about it openly. They were trying to tweak his mechanics so that he wasn't dealing with the hip injury. He's since got an injection. The inflammation has reportedly gone down. He looked pretty good in AAA. His velocity wasn't where it used to be, but rehabbing like a 30-year-old rehabbing starter in AAA is not going 100%, right? Like
No.
I wouldn't focus too much on Bailey Ober's velocity in AAA because he wasn't going full bore. I think there's a chance you get a healthy Bailey Ober now, and a healthy Bailey Ober is a pretty solid starting pitcher still. So I'm putting him second of this group. I'm putting Burns fourth because there's a lot of kinks to work out. The floor is much lower than any of these guys in that home park. And so for the rest of this year, I put him last.
I think this week it kind of tells you what you believe about Chase Burns, because you have a nice juicy 2-start week for Chase Burns. And his 2 starts at home, 1 against the Dodgers, 1 against the Braves. So if you have a pit in your stomach about starting Chase Burns in a 2-start week at home, you probably can't rank him ahead of any of these guys. And I agree, Yuri, of course, all the way at the top. And I'm with you on Ober. Ober's been so good for the last 3 years, like very sneakily, very quietly, very under the radar. I think that now he got bombed. A lot of people have like that confirmation bias. Like I knew this guy always stunk because he doesn't throw very hard. He doesn't have a great breaking ball.
Right.
But then if you look at the actual his statistics for his last 500 innings pitched, it's still objectively a 30 pitcher by ERA and WHIP. So he's someone that if you can sneak Bailey Ober onto your roster right now in a shallow league, he can be someone that can just very quietly be a mid-rotation guy for you the rest of the season. You'll reap the rewards of that.
Yep. James, the best fantasy baseball content creator. James,
Nice,
you
Brandon.
did it.
What about Eric? That's me.
Yeah, no, you did it. And plus the hair, it's the hair too. It's
I'm getting a haircut literally today, so we'll see what the hell looks like after that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Oh
work
my
on
God.
that. Yeah.
Don't tell the people, James. What are you going to be without that luscious hair?
Not shaving it.
That's true. Joe says Tyler O'Neill fire in ad, say over Cowser. Varsho also available, 12-team mix, deep roto. Listen, I mean, we know who Tyler O'Neill is. We know that when he gets hot, he can put up really strong streaks, and then he's liable to get banged up in some way and fall off. But he's producing right now. He's going to play every day in Baltimore because they signed him. We know that park gets hot and the ball starts to travel in the summer. I mean, we saw Anthony Santander every summer go on homer barrages. If you need more 5 category juice, I think I'd still take Colton Cowser because he also has power and he's going to run. But I might take both of them over Varsho. I'm not a huge Varsho guy. I don't love the contact profile. I think he's like a 230 hitter. And so I think if you need power, O'Neill. If you want more across the board, Cowser, and I would take both of them over Varsho.
I'm pretty sure when the Orioles game started on Friday, Tyler O'Neill's OPS started with a 5. And at the end of the play on Sunday, it was 724, just to give a sense of what he did this weekend. But I think, I agree with you. Those two are much more safe, secure, reliable than Dalton Varsho. Dalton Varsho is definitely going to mix back in and be a starter on the Blue Jays. But there's like Dalton Varsho derangement syndrome on Blue Jays Twitter, which I don't even know why I'm a part of the Blue Jays Twitter, but they always seep into my timeline. They think that he's one of the 5 best center fielders in the league. So I've seen people say 3. Like I understand defensively he's tremendous, but there's been so much up and down with Dalton Varsho at the plate since he arrived in Toronto. It's very hard to trust him to do anything besides hit 205 and a handful of homers and a handful of steals at this point.
Yeah, I would go better than 205, but that's kind of it.
215?
I'll give him 225 because there were some swing changes this year, but
in one weekend, Tyler O'Neill went from a 595 OPS to a 724 in 3 games against the Colorado Rockies.
But also remember, because his plate, his plate appearances were so low because of the injuries. Again, that's like Tyler O'Neill in a nutshell.
Same thing.
Dad's here again. Dad.
What's up, Dad?
Hey, man. Carson Wizenhunt is getting the call. Is he worth a speculative ad? I am going to extend this, James, as I ask you this question, because I think we're also, at least according to roster resource, we could also see. Is it also Carson Seymour? Is it 2? Yeah, it's 2 Carsons.
2 Carsons, double Carson.
We could also see Carson Seymour join the rotation. He is in the Giants bullpen, but he could join the rotation as well over the weekend. So Carson Wizenhunt, Carson Seymour, both in San Francisco right now. Do you like either? Where's your preference?
Carson Seymour, funny, part of the infamous Darren Ruff trade from the Mets to the Giants way back to the 2022 deadline. Any Mets fans watching will remember that fondly. The only member of that trade that's done anything in the last 4 years. But I like Wizenhunt objectively. I mostly like him for the ballpark. I mostly like him as a lefty with a very, very, very good changeup. you can't expect Carson Wizenhunt to come in and pitch deeply into games and strike a lot of people out. I think he's just going to be very simply a sinker changeup guy that's going to throw most of his pitches. It's going to be difficult to throw that sinker against the righties at the big league level. I know he mixes around with a slider and a cutter, mostly the slider, more so than the cutter. It'll probably take him a start or two to realize he can't throw that sinker 50, 60% of the time against these righties. He's going to need another pitch in the strike zone. But that park, that defense, there's at least like a relatively soft underbelly, I think, for Carson Wizenhunt, but without much upside at all.
Yeah. I dig that. I mean, I dig that analysis. I think in deeper formats, it's far more relevant than
definitely,
right now. We got a Twitch question. I need to bat. I've been offered Teoscar Hernandez and Sonny Gray for Paul Skeens. I still decline that, right? Yes.
Yeah, easy. Definitely decline that.
I know people are worried about the Paul Skeens like innings limit, and he's, he may only pitch 5 or 6 innings, but like, to be frank, like he wasn't, I still think it's not like you were getting tons of wins from him earlier in the year. So like, sure, I guess you're getting a few fewer strikeouts than if he was going 8 innings, but you're still getting the vast majority of the same goodness out of him.
Yeah.
I would
just hurt Paulie Starts League, but otherwise it's like, he's going to give up 1 or 0 runs in 5 innings with 7 strikeouts. That's awesome.
Yeah. Dylan says it's unclear how serious Grant Holmes' injury is, but the 60 days seems ominous. There's one Braves fan in my league who thinks it's going to be Tommy John surgery. Is he a drop right now? Yeah. Drop
basically any pitcher that you see.
I can't tell if you are were you glitching? Was I glitching? You're back now.
All right. No matter what, I saw two little circles on the screen. But what I was saying, I don't know which one of us it was. If you see any pitcher with an arm injury this time of year, basically just get rid of them. The only exception would maybe be the Landon Roop, where the team said defiantly, there's no issue and there's a minimum stay. And you give it 1 week, and if there's any funny business, then you drop him as well.
Right. But even that, like if I'm in an NFBC format, like a 12-team format, like I moved on from Landon Roop just because like I also was holding Michael King. I didn't have IL spots. You're like, all right, I'm not going to do this dance. But yes, I do. I agree with everything that you just said. Dionysius says, I have Aaron Nola coming back. Do I get rid of David Peterson, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, or Senga? It looks like he's trying to trade to try and upgrade at second base. The team who wants to trade has Ketel Marte, Nico Horner, Marcus Semien. I'm 12-5. I mean, honestly, I was going to say I might trade any of those guys for Ketel Marte if you could do it straight up. But it's going to be Ketel Marte on a Diamondbacks team without Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor, which reduces some value in terms of counting stats.
Or it's Ketel Marte on the Mets or the Dodgers.
I don't think.
I'm kidding. Yeah. I think they'll entertain it, but I think that no. And I see an Uncle Ted comment right here too. I can get rid of David Peterson and Ray for Marte. I don't think I would do that either this time of year. I think that the bulk that you're getting from David Peterson right now and the wins, the quality of even though it's still the same David Peterson nonsense where you're getting a few too many walks and not enough strikeouts. Like this has become a pretty proven commodity that David Peterson will pitch deeply into games and give this team a chance to win. I think that from that list, I'm still happy to trade him, but I don't think I would trade any 2 of those guys for Ketel Marte this time of year.
Yeah. Let's see. Marcus Semien since June 1st.
Semien's the through line, I think, here. Like a Robbie Ray for Semien feels like it makes sense. Maybe start with Senga, then go up to Robbie Ray if they say no. I still love Robbie Ray, though. Robbie Ray's like a top 25 pitcher right now.
I know. I don't know that I would go as high as Robbie Ray. Semien since June 1st, 257. 9 home runs, 6 steals in 47 games.
Like I start with Peterson.
36 runs scored, 31 RBIs in 47 games.
Yeah, he's been the same guy now.
Because the Rangers are producing or they're hitting really well.
Yeah.
So if you think of Semien as maybe like a 250, 260 guy instead of like the 270 something guy we had seen in years past, like he's producing kind of like he had been before. So like Freddie Peralta for Semien, like I would do that. Freddie Peralta is, Nick Pollock calls him Professor Chaos. And and it is incredibly hard to pinpoint exactly what you're going to get. If I could, I would try. I would be okay.
I would
trading
start lower than Peralta if I'm going for Semien here.
Sure,
Peralta
but I
is
would-
league
but-
leader in wins and is 2.80 RA. Like you could probably
Sure,
start with
but-
Peralta for Ketel, and that could probably be a deal that actually you might be able to sneak that one through.
I would see if you could trade either Peterson or Senga for Semien. If not, I'm okay going to Peralta. I think I like Ray more than any of these guys. But
I'd offer Peralta for Marte and then Peterson for Semien and be like, let's see if we could work something out in between these if you don't like either of those. I think Freddie Peralta has a lot of shine. Freddie Peralta has been one of the best pitchers in baseball season statistically. You're looking at 131 strikeouts and 120 innings, a 2.8. Like objectively, a lot of these fantasy baseball trades are people think about them based on what's happened rather than what will happen. I think Freddie Peralta right now, in some circles, could be viewed easily as a top 15, top 20 pitcher.
Yeah, I wouldn't view him that high. I would go,
That's
but maybe top, but somewhere between 20 and 30. I think is where I would have Peralta if I'm thinking it's off the top of my head of
12 wins.
I know, but yes, but we know that wins are like really hard to.
But that's a good piece of a trade negotiation. Look how many wins he has.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure.
That's the guy you push for Ketel, not for Semien.
Look at all his wins. He's so good. Look at all his wins.
So many wins.
James wants to know in a week to week categories league, do you prefer second baseman, Jazz Chisholm, or Michael Garcia for the rest of the season?
Jazz.
Is Jazz.
I
like Garcia.
Garcia a lot. Jazz is a different echelon though. Jazz is sensational.
Brandon, thoughts on James Wood's recent struggles? How long till you guys think it turns around? Any game now? I mean, I'm not concerned.
It'd be any moment. I'm trying to look right now in the way that James Wood is being pitched relative to the last few months, because I think that could be indicative. It's just sometimes we forget that these players are, these are still very young players. And just looking at it, a quick scan on Baseball Savant, every single month this season, James Wood has seen more breaking balls. And in the last month, James Wood in July, it's over 50% whiff rate against breaking balls. So I think that is probably the book right now on James Wood is as much junk as you can give him.
And it's, how long till he adjusts to that? He's a very talented player. He could adjust to that immediately. Yes. We don't know. It's you just got to keep him in your lineup and see how it goes. ZSportsCard says, what do you think about Addison Barger and Roman Anthony in points leagues the rest of the way? Have them starting right now. I have no problem with those two starting.
Love them both
for the rest of the season for you
in perpetuity. I think Roman's a top 50 hitter. Addison's a top 75. And I think I can see both of them even outperforming that at this point. Yeah.
I think you're in a really good spot there.
Yeah.
Dad says Taj Bradley was optioned to AAA, allowing Joe Boyle to return to the rotation. Is he worth a roster spot? We've talked about Joe Boyle a lot on here. We should just note his next 3 starts: Yankees, Dodgers, Yankees. Now the Yankees could be without Aaron Judge for both of those starts. Definitely this next start could be both those starts. Still a decent enough offense though, where you're not like, oh, the Yankees are bad. So those are 3 tough starts, and I think that
and a tough park.
Like in a 10 or 12 team league, that may cause me to say I'm not running to pick up Joe Boyle right now. But in a deeper league, I would pick him up because it's dregs in a deeper league. Like you may be like, am I picking up Michael McGreevy or Joe Boyle? And I would much rather have Joe Boyle.
Much rather Joe Boyle than Michael McGreevy. Michael McGreevy made me so mad this week in the daily league where I sat him in Coors Field and I started him at home against the Padres. And in Coors Field, he goes 7 scoreless or 7-1, and he gives up 6 runs in 4 innings in the start. Not in Coors Field. I was tilting yesterday about Michael McGreevy. Cost me a couple of roto points.
Yeah,
so mad.
And listen, and I like McGreevy in a deeper format because I do think he's a solid enough starting pitcher. He's got a deep pitch mix. He has good command, but he's a pitch to contact guy. And so there are going to be starts like the last one where he gets hit around, and there are going to be starts that are good. So McGreevy to me is like a risky 15-team league guy.
Yeah.
Boyle, if he had a better run of opponents, I would be much more keen to pick him up. I would much rather have Zebby Matthews. Your thoughts on whether Zebby Matthews is breaking out? Thanks.
Yes.
I'm so in the bag for Zebby Matthews. Like,
me too.
If you ask me questions about Zebby Matthews or Gavin Williams, I'm not going to say anything negative. Like, I've just been like, I'm riding the train. I've been doing it since February. And so I'm in here. You and I think on the last show encouraged people not to overreact to the poor start in Coors Field.
I think
His
we said
first
the
start off
opposite.
the IL.
We said take the opportunity. We
Yeah.
said this is your moment right here. And it came. That was like when the takes like that hit so quickly. It's beautiful. I had Twitter DMs on Friday night being like, "Thanks for the Zebby Matthews advice. Thanks for Zebby." I'm like, "That's like yeah, hell yeah, that one feels good." Don't remember the other bad advice, but that was such. He's awesome. He has a spot. Throws really hard. He has great command. It's just like he is one of those guys that can change your fortunes rest of season easily.
Yeah. Fully in on him. I'd be picking him up wherever he's available.
Yeah.
Michael asked about closer stashes like Griffin Jax, Phil Maton, and Blake Trinan. We talked about them a little bit earlier. I ranking those three, I would rank them Trinan, Maton, and Jax only because again, I don't believe Duran is traded. And I know that Trinan is in a committee right now. Like I know that he is getting high leverage innings for the Dodgers. They have said it. Maton could be traded as well. And again, doesn't get any save opportunities. So that's how I have them ranked.
Jax also could be traded. Like that's another part of it. I don't think it's likely either, but I think it might be more likely they trade him than Duran, just because they've said based on the way they handled their back end of their bullpen that they value Joan Duran more than Griffin Jax. So if Jax gets traded, most places he gets traded to, he probably becomes the closer. If he's a Philly, he's a closer. If he's a Tiger, he's a closer. If he's a Dodger, he's a partial closer. Not the Padre, I guess, but like there's a if you have this little roster spot, because from that list, Griffin Jax I think is certainly the best pitcher. So if you know you're only going to want to put these guys as a roster spec for 72 hours, 36 hours, it's not the worst idea to just hold them for a few days and then Thursday 4:00 hits, you take them off. No harm, no foul.
Yep, I agree there. Ron says, obviously I have to stick with Mookie Betts, but can you give me some hope that he'll be very productive over the final 2 months? Maybe he was really overrated in drafts based on his huge 2023. I can't give you hope that he will be better, except that he's Mookie Betts and he could turn it around at any point in time. Obviously, in addition to all the struggles he was dealing with before, he revealed that this weekend his stepfather died, and his stepfather, who I guess has been in his life since he was in 4th grade. So that's a pretty huge loss. And so you're dealing with all the physical stuff. You're dealing with all the emotional stuff off the field. It feels like it might be a lost season for Mookie Betts. But we also talked about this on here. Like, I will take the discount next year. I think this was very clearly a guy who was spent all offseason focusing on playing shortstop and being a good shortstop, and then had the virus, and then had the toe, and now has a death in the family. And it just feels like a season where anything that could go wrong for Mookie Betts has gone wrong for him. And I hope he turns it around, but I don't think he was overdrafted, and I wouldn't read too far into this when we think about next year.
No, if Mookie Betts was overdrafted, it was because of the decade of Hall of Fame production you put on, not just the great last 2 seasons. I think that's fair. Like sometimes star players just have down years. Like that's just something that happens. And again, not even like to the same caliber, but like we see this, it's not the same thing. Like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., like every other couple of years he does this. Corey Seager had a bad 2 months of this year, but like the star players bounce back. Mookie just has some more mitigating circumstances right now that might limit him from bouncing back over the next 2 months.
Yeah. Dad wants to know what we should do with Jacob Msarowski. He's clearly talented, but his innings limit will take a hit on his value, especially in quality starts league. So let's say you're in a quality start league. Are you trading Msarowski? Are you keeping him? What would you be looking for if you were trying to trade him?
You can't really, it's such a hard thing to judge because you probably have to assume he gets 0 quality starts the rest of the season, right? 1, maybe if things work out perfectly. I think he's pitching tonight. Yeah, it's only his 2nd start coming out of the break. They're doing everything they can to push him back. I think the Brewers are also looking around and realizing that this is the best shot they've ever had, I believe, as a franchise to go all the way and win something. So I think they care much more. And this series tonight's a big deal for them because like when 3 games against a team that you're tied with for the division, as you try to avoid the 3-game wild card is important. You almost want the Brewers to, I don't even know. I wrote about this in the innings limit column, but it was like, there's not really that many circumstances that makes the Brewers push Jacob Msarowski in the regular season. If he has a certain amount of bullets left, they want those in the playoffs because that's their best chance to, again, win a World Series that they've ever had. So I just think you're going to get very abbreviated, very annoying Jacob Msarowski. So it plays better the deeper your league. If you can still get name value back in a trade for him in anything that's like a 12-teamer or more shallow, I would almost do that like snap reaction.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what the Brewers do there. That was part of the Hector Gomez thing, was that the Brewers were emerging as a contender for Eugenio Suarez because they have Logan Henderson, because they have, all of these guys who are not currently in the rotation and don't really have a spot right now, who are looking pretty good. You also have Tobias Myers, you have Nestor Cortez coming off the IL. Like, there's a lot of rotation depth here. So we'll see if there's a piggyback situation or what the Brewers plan to do.
So many guys.
Yeah. Michael says, I somehow now have Sandy Alcantara, Edward Cabrera, and Yuri Perez. Thoughts on the Marlins' big three rest of season? I rank them Perez, Cabrera, Alcantara. Perez is not getting traded. It wouldn't surprise me if one of Alcantara or Cabrera gets traded. I think Alcantara more likely than Cabrera. Listen, Sandy looked good in the last start. Maybe a trade helps him. I think Cabrera and Perez are rosterable in 12-team leagues and deeper. Sandy is probably a fringy 12-team guy the rest of the way, maybe just like a streamer there.
Sandy is another guy similar to Betts, different ilk, but he's someone I'm going to be buying in heavy next year, I think. After seeing him sustain this velocity and like getting up to this workload, the command is a mess. The breaking balls are all over the place, but that's someone that the further he gets away from the surgery, the further he's able to shake loose. I think that next year you get I don't think we're ever going to see 2021, 2022 Sandy again, but I do think that you're going to see a great version of him. And we both love Edward Cabrera. I think this is the big three for the Marlins. There's a lot of trade rumors swirling around these guys. Like, I think in the back of Peter Bendix's mind, he's like, what if I just kept these three guys? And next year we would just try to be a wild card team, because they're not that far off from that right now.
They're playing really good baseball right now. And
it's like a deep mix of relievers and position players, much deeper than they seemed a few months ago. And like, the one guy seems tradable is Jesus Sanchez, but he's another one where it's like, why? Who are you trading Jesus Sanchez to make time for right now? Like, do you get a better outfielder with multiple years of control? It's like,
obviously, Heriberto Hernandez
he can actually hit the ball. Have you seen the batted ball day with Heriberto Hernandez?
I know, but he's got a 30. He had a 35% strikeout rate in AAA and somehow comes up and is crushing. I'm like, what? But yeah, look, the Marlins could keep these guys and run out a rotation with next year with those three, Ryan Weathers and Robbie Snelling, and you're like, that's a pretty good
team
rotation. But also, the flip side is if they trade one of those guys, they run out a rotation next year that could be Yuri Perez, Edward Cabrera, Ryan Weathers, Max Meyer, Robbie Snelling, and you're like, okay, that's also a pretty good rotation. So yeah, I mean, I think they capitalize on one.
Yeah, maybe.
Points league question for you. Dylan says he's desperate at catcher. Should he deal Luke Keeschel to a guy who loves him for Augustine Ramirez? Or should I get more than Ramirez to part with Keeschel?
Points league, Keeschel isn't the most valuable, because I think the biggest tool that he's demonstrated so far, I mean, more so the majors than the upper minors. Upper minors, he was kind of good at everything. It was the stolen bases. That's what made him so attractive when he had that brief stint earlier this year, April, May, whenever that was. I'm not sure what level of power you get from Luke Keeschel at the major league level. He might be like a 10 homer, 25 steal guy. And then that as a, 260 hitter, that's not a great point league guy. That's a great rotisserie league guy. I think I like, objectively, Augustine Ramirez more than Luke Keeschel in Dynasty Points League. That being said, if you think based on the way he's viewed in your league, you can get more than Augustine Ramirez. Get more than Augustine Ramirez. Start higher, but know that if that trade comes down to a 1-for-1, I think I'd be pretty comfortable with that being the trade.
Yeah, and remember that Augustine Ramirez, not a great catcher, but has 36 starts behind the plate this year, so he will at least remain a catcher for next year. And then who knows? And even if he moves to first base in the years ahead, like, he will probably remain a solid hitter. So you're still going to get value for him. It's not like, you're not losing tons of value if he moves. Hey, look, it's a Ryan Nelson question.
No way.
How do you guys feel about Noah Cameron and Ryan Nelson? 2 months now, and production is very good. Would you drop any of them for Spencer Aragetti? Ooh, that's a
hard one. Now that's a good question.
I feel good about both of those guys rest of the season. But coming into the year, I had Aragetti as like somewhere in my starting pitcher 40-ish
these
overall
top
rankings
50,
at the start of the year.
Definitely. So but what you've seen from these guys, does that change your opinion? Now I'm pulling up schedules because this now is becoming a schedule question. If that's when there's a decision that's this tight between three guys, you just have to look at who they're pitching against next. And we have a Noah Cameron at Toronto, which is suddenly kind of a scary matchup. I guess not really. At Minnesota, home White Sox, and then either versus Texas or at Detroit, and then another White Sox, no Detroit. Noah Cameron is a great schedule for the rest of the month. So Noah Cameron probably sticks around. You look at Ryan Nelson's schedule on the Diamondbacks. Ryan Nelson at Detroit. Why are all these guys pitching against the Tigers? And then Ryan Nelson home against the Padres, and then home against the Rockies, then in Colorado. That's also a pretty good schedule.
Yeah.
That's good schedules. I don't know. I like Aragetti more than both of them, but they feel like a little too good to drop in this sense to give up a healthy guy with a similar floor and ceiling for an injured guy with a similar floor and ceiling.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I keep thinking is like Noah Cameron is now, including his AAA innings, doing the math in my head while I'm staring at this, he is at 113 2/3 innings. Last year, he threw 128 2/3 innings in the minors. So you figure he probably has until 140. So he's got 30 more innings until he hits 140. If the Royals are out of contention when he's at 140 innings, is he a guy who gets shut down? So, 30 more innings is what, 6 more starts for him? That's still,
most
takes you until the middle of September.
Yeah.
That's really tough, man. Like I think I might prefer Aragetti to Ryan Nelson in a vacuum. So I might be okay making that move, but I would need to see Aragetti has one more start this Thursday or Friday, depending on the AAA schedule, and then he's going to come back. So we don't know who he's going to line up against. And so it's hard to say for sure right now that I would make that move unless I know where he's going to start. Because what if he gets well, let's do this right now. We're like taking a lot of time on this question, but I think it is important. A good question. Because if I look at like the remaining schedule for the Astros or for the next like month, let's say he comes back next week, does he get Miami in one of the first 3 starts? That's great. Or does he get the Yankees in Yankee Stadium next weekend? Not so great. Then it would be Boston. Then there's Detroit. Then there's Baltimore. It's like, okay, right now, RotoWire has him debuting in 2 weeks against the Red Sox and then the Tigers. I think it's more likely he comes back next weekend and would get the Yankees. We'd go Yankees, Orioles.
I think that in this case too, Spencer Aragetti's been making his rehab starts at AA. I would like to see, because if you have a couple more days to wait this one out, if he gets to AAA, you can get velocity, you get the pitch movement. Because I think that's a very big deal here.
That should be this Thursday or Friday, depending on the AAA schedule.
Because that is kind of Aragetti's game. Aragetti's a spin guy. It's the breaking balls. It's the way he's able to like manipulate those secondaries. If he's not able to do those, he's not the same pitcher that we're considering as like preseason was a fringy top 50 guy. And we just can't see from AA box scores whether that's happening or not.
So we're saying hold for now. Hold what you got and see what you can get from Aragetti AAA data. Yeah. ZSportsCard says, I got offered Royce Lewis, Shane McClanahan, and Seiya Suzuki for Mitch Keller, Cole Reagans, and Austin Riley. Would you do that or keep what I have? I'm assuming this is like a keeper or a dynasty league because
aren't playing like the rest of the year. I mean, 2 of them are.
Yeah, like I don't know that. I don't think McClanahan's coming back at all.
On the surface, if it's a dynasty league, I would definitely not do this trade because I think if it's a dynasty league, Austin Riley to me is still the best player in this trade, and Cole Reagans is probably still the second best player in this trade, unless we get disaster from Cole Reagans. But in which case, I don't think I'd make the move, assuming that. If it's a redraft league, I would definitely take the trade because I would want Seiya Suzuki most from this list in a redraft league.
Yes, I agree with you there. Bet guy says, have Blake Snell coming back. Which would you drop to make room? Mitch Keller, Ryan Nelson, Seth Lugo, Joe Boyle, Reese Olson. This is a schedule question for sure. Obviously, the Mitch Keller of it all is tough because is he pitching for the Pirates or is he pitching for the Cubs? And you can probably wait because as of right now, Snell isn't set to come back until Friday, and that will be after the trade deadline. So you will know if Mitch Keller is on the Pirates or not by then. And if Mitch Keller remains on the Pirates, for me, he's probably the cut. If Mitch Keller goes to the Cubs or something, it's a little bit of a different setup. I will say Reese Olson's next starts. He gets Arizona on Wednesday, and that's an Arizona team that will be without Josh Naylor and maybe Eugenio Suarez.
They just almost got shut out for a whole weekend.
And then after that, he gets Minnesota, Kansas City. Like those are, I kind of like those starts for Reese Olson.
I like Reese Olson a lot. I've learned that in this world, I'm one of the high people on Reese Olson always. Yeah. I'm a sucker for a couple of nice secondaries that a pitcher can get through a platoon advantage again. When he uses that changeup against the righties, it shouldn't work, but it works so well. Yeah, I fall in love with that. From this list, I'm dropping Boyle for the reasons we talked about before.
Yeah, I think I'm dropping Keller if he remains on the Pirates and Boyle if not.
Yeah,
is kind of where I'm at.
That's fair.
Skywalker says, any concerns with Ronald Acuna, just a slow start after the All-Star break or something else? No concerns. I mean, we know that he is, still managing his body after, missing a lot of time last year. And so we kind of already have an indication that like he is having some soreness at some times and things like that. And so I'm not concerned, but I think you're getting maybe like an 80% Ronald Acuna right now. And I think we just have to operate like that for the rest of the season.
I think there's also a strange thing happening with Acuna right now where he's someone that's never lost. He's never been on a team that's bad. The Atlanta Braves. The Braves have been good his entire tenure, mostly because he's so good and they're so good at the same time. So this is the first time he's ever having to navigate again being on a bad team, not playing for anything. So I think that it might be reasonable to expect some lapses in concentration, focus, while he'll still be absolutely one of the few best players in the entire league the whole time.
Yeah. Bet on it guy says every time I start Zebby, he sucks. When I don't start him, he shines. I'm staying away. Thank you. Thank you for staying away. Thank you for the rest of us.
Wait,
if that's how it works out.
You started the course? Is that why?
Yeah. If that's how it works out.
Yeah. Give one more chance.
Dylan says rest of season, better trade target in points formats, Quinn Priester or Mel Kelly?
Points formats, you probably get some more innings of Kelly and some more strikeouts, but not many more. And it kind of depends on if and where Mel Kelly gets traded because Priester is giving you a better chance for wins. So I think until Thursday, I might lean Priester, but I do objectively like Kelly more. And if Kelly gets traded anywhere, I think I do like Kelly a little bit more as of right now. And if he gets traded to a winning team that doesn't have a horrible home ballpark, I'll like him a lot more.
Kelly for me here. Uncle Ted says Aroldis Chapman is who we need to monitor. He's talking about the velocity dip yesterday. Chapman said after the game he's dealing with back spasms. The Red Sox acknowledged that he wanted to pitch through it. They told him no. It's not a back injury, it's back spasms. But again, Chapman is approaching 40, and as somebody who is 40, I can tell you that back injuries linger. And so maybe it's a brief IL stint. We don't know, but this is not an arm injury. It's not anything like that. So nothing major. If you are looking for something for this week, Garrett Whitlock is the guy, in my opinion. He was not available yesterday, and that's why Jordan Hicks entered. Whitlock had pitched in 4 of the last 6 games. He's getting the most high leverage innings alongside Chapman. The Red Sox have moved him from a multi-inning guy to just a 1-inning guy. So if you're looking for saves right now in the short term, I think you can add Garrett Whitlock. But I think that Aroldis Chapman is going to be just fine, after however a couple days off, whatever.
Do you think Jordan Hicks siphons any of those late inning opportunities?
In the immediate, I don't know, man. He's still really struggling to throw strikes. I think it would be this week. It could be something like primarily Whitlock, some Bernardino if they're facing lefties. Greg Weissert or Hicks are kind of on the same level if they need righties. But yeah, that would be it. In a points league, Drake Baldwin or Alejandra Kirk rest of season. Kirk just got placed on the IL, if I am remembering correctly from the weekend. He did placed on the 7-day IL with a concussion. I was probably going to go Drake Baldwin anyway, but now that Kirk is on the IL, I think
we have insane breaking news.
Oh.
Cleveland Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave as part of this MLB's sports betting investigation. Oh my God. That's big news. Cade Smith, huge. Rush. Cade Smith, as soon as you guys can. Oh my, wow. Is that the highest profile player in any sport in this era that has possibly been linked to gambling?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is great. Jeff Passan 5 minutes ago already has 500,000 impressions. Oh. Drake Baldwin or Alejandra Kirk, Eric?
Wow. Yeah. All right. I'm like, I just added Cade Smith in a league and dropped Raisel Iglesias.
Right.
So if you're looking for I mean, I think we know that Cade Smith is the guy. Maybe it's like who knows, man? This could be for the rest of the year. I think it's less likely that they trade Cade Smith now.
I think so, certainly.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a piece of information.
Wow. Obviously you're not dropping Clase right now. But yeah, did it say how long?
Nah, it just that's all it said. As part of the league's gambling investigation.
Yeah. No. Through August 31st.
Oh, so it's a guaranteed month.
So
wow.
So Clase is out for all of August. So Clase will not be traded.
Clase will not be traded.
I don't know. In leagues like the NFBC,
drop.
You may have to drop Clase.
I think you almost certainly should drop Clase, let alone have to. I think that he's an auto drop, it feels like right now. That is unbelievable. I'm mystified. Huh.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, listen.
Wow.
We're not going to get into a whole thing on here.
No, definitely
about gambling, but
definitely not. Just do it responsibly.
But the MLB, these sports teams, the MLB, organizations, leagues that are partnering with gambling sites, it's a problem. Because you can't promote gambling and have it as a huge sponsor and then also be suspending players for gambling. It's a really weird, I don't know. I think it's just, it opens up somebody said it's the canary in the coal mine, right? It's the hen in the wolf in the hen house or the fox in the hen house. It's tough. Any other Cleveland relievers to look at? I'll just say, if I pull up from June 1st, I sort just by relievers. I go to the Guardians and I look at the average leverage index at the start of an inning. So the guys who come in to the highest leverage at the beginning of an inning. Cade Smith was number 2 since June behind Clase, and Hunter Gaddis is number 3. So it's Cade Smith or Hunter Gaddis right now.
Cade Smith will definitely get the lion's share of save opportunities. Hunter Gaddis is someone else that could, because he's also a great reliever. Yeah.
Uncle Tad, Kyle Harrison has to be close to making his debut for the Red Sox. I thought that until he walked 6 people at AAA yesterday. That was not great. The Red Sox are probably going to trade for a starter. And so Buehler may get bumped from the rotation anyway for a starting pitcher, or Fitz will get bumped. I think it's possible that Kyle Harrison debuts at some point for the Red Sox, but remember, he's only 23 years old and they are reshaping his entire pitch mix and approach. And so they may add starters and just say, hey, Harrison's in our rotation for 2026 and we'll operate from there. So we'll see how that goes. Joe G says, will Nestor Cortez get traded or will he go 7-1 rest of the season?
Probably between those two.
Yeah, it's in between. He could get traded. But if you are monitoring the innings for Jacob Msarowski, I kind of think like a Cortez Msarowski tandem is pretty interesting for the Brewers, because you can't really think of two wholly different pitchers. And if you split 8 innings in a game between those two guys, it's pretty hard to think of how a hitter could manage all of that.
I'm still pretty stunned by Class A.
I'm like looking at all this right now. Yeah. I'm going to have you answer this question now.
Okay.
Would you trade Nico Horner and Jurickson Profar for Manaea and Kerry Carpenter?
Oh, I think for sure. I'm sure this is a rotisserie league because that's where you're getting a lot of this value from Nico with the batting average and stolen bases. But Sean Manaea's looked good rather than great in his return back, but the good is still pretty good, and you just hope he's building himself up. And Kerry Carpenter off the IL, he already hit a home run. Like, I think Kerry Carpenter is it's hard to manage Kerry Carpenter in a weekly league because he often doesn't play against left-handed pitchers. I believe the Tigers have a few lefties coming up, if I remember checking again this morning, but I think that's a no-brainer trade. I don't care very much for Profar at all. I think that if you can manage the loss of stolen bases from Nico, then that's in terms of value comp, I think that's easy.
Yeah. Dredd says, do you think the Tigers are contenders or pretenders now? And should they trade Flaherty?
Again? That'd be funny.
I think they're contenders. I think the Tigers were always a team that was playing slightly above their skis when they were the best team in baseball, but I think they are a good team, and I think they are a strong team, and I think that if they shore up their bullpen, Tommy Kahnle was blowing a lot of games when they were in that like really rough stretch before the All-Star break. So I think they're a contender in the AL, but they're probably not as strong a contender as they looked 3 weeks ago. But I don't see them trading Jack Flaherty.
I don't either, but that would be funny if they trade Jack Flaherty again. That would be some good comedy.
Yeah. Thoughts on Zack Efflin rest of season? He's on the wire in a few of my leagues, and he looks solid in his first start back off the IL. I was telling people to add him for the last couple of weeks. I think that Zack Efflin has been a respectable starting pitcher for a few years now, and I think that he's probably traded, and who knows where he goes. But I think that Zack Efflin is a must add in a 15-team format, because he will give you good innings and solid depth in a start. And I think he's a streamer in a 12-team format. And if that winds up on a contending team in a good ballpark, maybe, like, I think that's interesting.
I think so too. I think he's, again, just the similar idea that we talked about Bailey Ober like 20 minutes ago is the same concept with Zack Efflin, where he's definitely too good to have been this bad.
Yeah. And I think, there were injuries. There was the lat injury. There was the back injury. And so, yeah. Oh, man. Everybody's like, I'm getting a lot of, who should I pick up? Who should I pick up? And it's like, Cade Smith. You should pick up Cade Smith. But if he's not there, that's it. Omar has a question from 2012, which is Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, or Justin Verlander rest of season.
Scherzer.
I kind of think Scherzer.
He's the one who by far looked the best. He just had an 11 strikeout game on his 41st birthday, which is hilarious and awesome. But also, Verlander stinks. He's done. I'll just say, go out and say that. Verlander's totally done. Sure, Kershaw's fine, but he's more of like smoke and mirroring his way through, where Scherzer still has what seems to be like at least slightly better than league average stuff, which I would go with him for that reason.
Yep, me too. Man, well, that's going to do it for us today. I think everyone
make sure to go get Kenny Smith. I just got him while we were doing this.
Yeah. James, what is your content plan for the rest of the week? What are you putting out? Where can people get it?
Rest of the week, as every week, waiver column on Tuesday, stolen base column on Wednesday. I know that we're going to have to do some trade recap articles, so I might grab some of those too as those start to fall in. So I might have another post on either Wednesday evening, Thursday evening, possibly. Trade deadline, this is one of the most fun weeks of the baseball seasons, and especially when you have gambling suspensions to some of the highest profile closers at the same time of it. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Woo. I had an article that just came out today over on NBC Sports of players to stash before the trade deadline. So make sure you check that out. Wednesday, I will probably still have my starting pitcher article come out on Wednesday, but we might skip it depending on how many trade deadline pieces we get. We will be doing something on Thursday for the trade deadline during the day, whether that's a bunch of articles, whether it's a live chat, anything like that. Maybe it's like a Reddit live Q&A. So make sure you check that out. And on Sunday, I'll have my waiver wire article, and there will be a lot of stuff to discuss on Sunday after the trades that come on Thursday. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, keep it locked to the Rotoworld Player news page. We'll get all of our updates, like the Emmanuel Clase update. We'll get all of that stuff out. And so we'll check you again on Monday to break down all of this stuff after the deadline is over. For James Schiano, I am Eric Samulski. We'll see you next Monday at noon on the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A.